Hello there, welcome to Spurs Talk Show with me, Sean Butler. You can find us on Twitter at Spurs Talk Show, and on YouTube, look for the cockerel in the YouTube circular kind of logo thing. It's also called Spurs Talk Show. We're not live, this is recorded, but we would normally be live. We will be live more frequently. 11th of December today, and the news that has dropped this morning, the big news of the day, is that UEFA have released a statement from Europe regarding the Europa Conference League fixture and the chance to reschedule it against Stade Rennais. Unfortunately, following the COVID-19 outbreak in the team of Tottenham Hotspur FC ahead of the UEFA Europa Conference League group stage match against Stade Rennais that was scheduled to take place on the 9th of December, the match could not take place because of that COVID outbreak. In accordance with Annex J of the UEFA Conference, of the UEFA Europa Conference League regulations, UEFA, in cooperation with the two clubs, did try to find a viable solution in order to reschedule the match so as to ensure the group stage could be completed accordingly. Unfortunately, despite all efforts, a solution that could work for both clubs could not be found. As a consequence, the match can no longer be played, and the matter will therefore be referred to the UEFA Control, Ethics and Disciplinary Board for a decision to be taken in accordance with Annex J of the above-mentioned regulations. We shall continue to support and update the supporters as a matter of progress. That is the statement released by Tottenham Hotspur. What's interesting, though, is that Annex J says that if the game cannot be rescheduled, then the team that couldn't get the match played initially will forfeit the game, and the other team will be handed a technical 3-0 victory. So as it stands, Tottenham, because they were the team that couldn't play the game, would naturally be considered to be the at-fault party and will hand Rennes the 3-0 victory. That said, that's not necessarily entirely true unless Tottenham can prove to UEFA that they didn't have the regulated and necessary 13 players plus a goalkeeper that were deemed fit and that could have played in the Europa Conference League out of the squad of the players that were allocated to that competition. If they can prove to UEFA that they didn't have the 13 players, then it makes this whole thing more complicated, and then maybe it's not Tottenham that were responsible, if you like. Maybe then they have to go back and review, well, why couldn't a compromise be found? The difficult thing about trying to prove that the 13 players could or couldn't play is that Tottenham, like everybody else in the Premier League, have to abide by medical confidentiality, and so you cannot name who the players are who were exposed to the virus, who tested positive and returned positive results on the second and third occasion of being tested. If Tottenham are not willing or not able to disclose those names to the public, it might be different, that they might have to disclose it to UEFA, although I'm pretty sure that medical confidentiality rules would still state that that's not something that has to be done. Then I don't necessarily know how Tottenham can prove or disprove the idea or the rumour that Tottenham couldn't have fielded the 13 players in the first place. So it's not as simple as just assuming that Tottenham will forfeit the match. Whether or not you agree that they should forfeit the match depends on your perception and perceived value that you could get from continuing in the tournament in the first place. And with a backlog of other fixtures that are yet to be played, for example, the Burnley game that was called off for bad weather purposes the weekend before last, and then now the Brighton game this weekend that is going to be called off as well. And of course, the potential for the Leicester game also to be called off, then it does look difficult and tricky for Tottenham to be able to squeeze any of those games in, let alone rescheduling, potential Conference League matches if we were deemed to qualify, because it was deemed later that Rennes were the party that made it difficult to reschedule this match before the end of the month. It's all up in the air. I would say that for me, the highest likelihood is that Tottenham will concede and forfeit the game. But like I say, there is this one chance that if Tottenham can prove that we didn't have a fully fit team that could have played in the game, then that might change things. But as I say, I'll update you if I see anything And that's it, really. No other real news coming out around the news headlines. A little bit about more about Steven Bergwijn, that's looking to go back to Holland. He came to us a couple of years ago now from Eindhoven, where he had scored, I think it was 45 goals and 33 assists for PSV Eindhoven. I think that statistic's right. Whereas he's only come here and for the cost of his salary and the cost of his purchase, it looked like he has cost £8 million per goal that he scored. So his return for Tottenham certainly hasn't set any records or set the world alight. But it might be the start of a transfer merry-go-round, and perhaps you would think that if Tottenham are willing to let him go, then they must have backups in place. Maybe one of those is Martial, who was mentioned yesterday as being a potential keen target for Tottenham to sign, given that he's asked his agent to find him a new club, having expressed his desire to leave Manchester United in January. Anyway, that's about it. There's no real other news to get off the chest this morning or this afternoon. Like, share, subscribe. I'm sorry for the waste of time for the last 3 minutes. Not really much going on. But as I say, the big news of the day is that it looks like Tottenham will have to concede or forfeit the game. But there is the outside chance that if they can find a way around medical confidentiality rules, that they can demonstrate that that Tottenham couldn't field the outfield players in the first place, then maybe things change. Thanks for listening. See you soon. Come on, you Spurs.